Lamar Jackson was incredible last night. 5 TDs in a blowout of the Rams. And his biggest supporter, Mark Ingram, keeping the hype train going.
Oh, yeah, give it to me.
Say what?
Come see me. LJ, MVP. If you got a problem, come see me. Just run that back from last week. That's all I'm gonna say. Man, people been trying me, but they can't validate their opinions. So, LJ for MVP.
Unlike Frozen 2, the sequel did not live up to the original in this instance. Frozen 2, far better than the original. Great movie, by the way. However, his teammates adore him. You were talking during the break about how defensive players, and Ingram's obviously an offensive player, but how they appreciate his style and the way he plays. And you can just tell how beloved he is in that locker.
Yeah, it's hard not to love a quarterback who's as tough as he is, who's as physical as he is, who encourages contact. And defensive players can relate to that, and they can appreciate that. And those runs where he'll end with contact, as much as a coach and an organization may look at it and say, we don't want that, all the other players are galvanized by that.
And it's how Mark Ingram runs, as an actual runner.
Yeah, and look, I give Mark Ingram a lot of credit. I don't think I gave him enough credit in New Orleans, but his approach, his enthusiasm, his energy, I think that's contagious too. I think he's made a huge impact from a character personality standpoint there.
Yeah, I'm big on the intangibles for a quarterback. And this guy, I mean, being able to galvanize men and get them to follow you. Like you said, the way the players and the coaches talk about this guy, that shows you he has the intangibles. Combine that with his talent, and that's why sky's the limit as long as he's healthy.
Mark Ingram's adorable.
And great offseason for the Ravens. You had Earl Thomas and Mark Ingram.
Right, Coach? I was like, I bet you Coach thinks he's adorable.
That's a dude adjective.
As usual, took the words right out of my mouth. Back to Jason Garrett, who has consistently been on the hot seat for 10 years running. But a recent report says the Cowboys aren't planning any immediate changes, and Jason Garrett's brushing off the criticism that's been pouring in, especially after Sunday's bad loss to the Patriots. Nick, would Dallas be making mistakes sticking with Jason Garrett the rest of this season?
I think they would be. They know they're moving on from him after this year. And I understand there's not a lot of instances of interim NFL coach leading team on deep playoff run. In fact, there might be 0 instances in modern NFL history. But they have a 0% chance of going on a deep playoff run as presently constituted. And now I want to say this to be fair to Jason Garrett. I don't think he's a terrible NFL coach. And I know there are rumors that the Giants might want him. He might be the exact type of coach a team such as the Giants need. Meaning, he might be a coach that is good to stabilize and get you to where 8-8 is an excellent season. But he is clearly not the type of coach the Cowboys need to play up to the level of their talent. He is not going to be able to match wits on game day with the best coaches in the NFL, and that's why when they play teams with equitable talent, they lose every single week. So I know he's not going to be the coach next year, Coach, so I don't know why you would not want to see if you can have one last card to play for your season this year, which is an injection of energy by moving on from him during the year.
Who do you replace him with? Kellen Moore?
No,
Chris Richard?
on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, so you replace him with
Chris
who?
Richard or Rod Marinelli.
Okay, so
Chris Broussard is not going to
Chris
coach.
Richard,
Oh,
sorry.
gotcha.
If I said Broussard.
so you replace him with one of those guys who have limited head coaching.
Marinelli's got some, Richard's got none.
Okay,
Yep.
and so you think you're going to get better situationally by doing that? And are you going to hurt the defense by doing that? And hasn't he won 3 out of the last 5 division titles, and he's on his way to win a 4th, so he's going to win 4 out of 6? Hey, I don't understand why there's such a rush to move on from him now. Let's see how this plays out. And to say there's a 0% chance of him winning a playoff game,
I said go on a deep playoff run.
Well, look, anybody who gets into the playoffs has a chance to go on a run, and I've been part of teams that nobody gave us a chance to go on a deep run, and you get hot at the right time, and you're a little bit healthier than everybody else, anything can happen. But to make it change now, the guy has won 3 out of the last 5 division championships, and he's on his way to winning a 4th. I just don't see why you would push it now.
I'm with Coach on this one. And look, I agree. He's not the coach next year unless they get to the Super Bowl. That would be my standard. I've seen enough if I'm Jerry Jones. And I think Jones coming out and criticizing him publicly for the first time in 10 years. I think that shows that he feels like you do. He's gone, barring some miracle run. I think they need to get to the Super Bowl. But, again, you said it, Nick. There's no examples of an interim coach. He actually is the best interim coach in the last 10, 15, 20 years when he went 5-3. Wade Phillips went 1-7. You know, so I don't think you make a change now. And I don't think, while they don't look good, in the past, I know they haven't beaten good teams this year, but they were 13-3 a few years ago. They beat some good teams. Last year, 10-6, they beat some pretty good teams. So I don't think it's impossible with this talent to win a playoff game or two, but it's unlikely with him, but I don't get rid of him.
The Cowboys have not been ruined by injuries. We all would agree with that. They've had some injuries, but they're around league average for games lost due to injury. They've actually been a little healthier than the average team. They have drafted exceptionally well over the last few years. They have as much talent. They're a top 5 talent in the league, with the question going into the year was their quarterback, who is having a top 5 quarterback season this year. Why are they 6-5? Why have they lost 5 of 8? Why can they not beat a good team? Why can they not win a close game? Why can they not start games off well? That's coaching. And we can't, NFL head coach, Coach obviously knows far better than me how hard of a job it is, but we all know how important of a job it is. And we can say they would be doing a rash decision by doing it now, or obviously not going to do it now. They have a game in 2 days, but doing it during the season. He has had as much time. The only coaches who's been with their team longer is Belichick, Peyton, Tomlin, John Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. All of them have won a Super Bowl. All of them have at least 7 playoff wins. He's got 2. So despite the division titles, what they have not achieved up to there's the list. They all have 8 playoff wins. I shortchanged Sean Payton 1. They've all been to a Super Bowl and won it. He hasn't even been to a conference championship game.
Are you going to get rid of Andy Reid in Kansas City? He hasn't made deep playoff runs since he's been there. I mean, are you saying that because of that he's underachieved? And look, part of this job is being able to get along with the GM/owner.
So that's, I think, the part of what his longevity is. He's got the one thing that none of these other coaches have. He has this loyalty to Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones buys into it, and they have a great relationship.
Well, I don't know if it's as much loyalty, Jenna, as it is you have to have a working relationship, and it's a difficult spot when the GM is also the owner, because it's not like he's ever going to go anywhere, and there's got to be some give and take, and there's a thought process that it couldn't be worse. It could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
I know it could be worse, but this is the team they're going to have next year. Like, we don't know about Amari Cooper, but they are locked into this roster. Dak will be back. Everyone that matters is locked in. They're not going to have some influx of talent. And you mentioned Andy Reid. Listen, Andy Reid has not been the coach of the Chiefs as long as Jason Garrett's been the coach of the Cowboys.
I mean, but 7 years, right? He's been there 7, and
last year he made a conference championship game. Something Jason Garrett has never done. And I do wonder, what would, and Andy Reid has fair criticism on game management stuff, agreed. What would the Cowboys look like if Andy Reid were their head coach? Come on. What would they, or Kyle Shanahan, or John Harbaugh, or any of those other guys on that list, or a dozen coaches in this league with this level of talent? Hell, Mike Vrabel has the Tennessee Titans. They got the same records as the Cowboys, right? They're on their 2nd quarterback. They don't have 40% of the talent as the Cowboys. Like,
they're on their 2nd quarterback because they changed quarterbacks, and he took over a team that was 9-7.
Right. So, but I guess my argument is with Titans, no, but they're on their 2nd quarterback because they changed quarterbacks because the quarterback was playing that poorly. They still have 6 wins. Dak was playing like a fringe MVP candidate. They've got 6 wins.
I only disagree with you on the timing now. Like, I just don't think you do it now. I don't think that benefits the team. That could blow the season up if you change it now. At least now it looks like they're going to make the playoffs with Garrett, and then you take your chances, and after that you can get rid of it.
Well, I'll tell Fox, if you know you're going to fire me after Christmas, fire me before Christmas. Like, let me I'll just take the time now. I mean, if you know you're going to move on, there's no reason not to do it now.
Martyr. Coach, stick around. Coming up, are the Patriots unbeatable at home? That's next on First Things First.